Was it back in 1.17 that Archaeology was supposed to be released? I think it was. But now, a couple of years later, and after much speculation, the feature was dropped. The Sussy sand is upon us. I'm so sorry. Anyway, make sure to like the video for Mogas. And also, this is the second out of 3 videos on today's new snapshot, so if you want to catch the others after this, check the links in the description. Now, Mogas here is built out of suspicious sand, and you can see it here laid directly next to normal sand. It has a little bit more contrast to it, but it would be pretty easy to miss if you weren't looking out for it. Okay, so here's the part where I'm so sorry I have to disappoint everyone, because I know right now you're thinking, oh my gosh, in 1.20, I get to make a new world, and I'm gonna find Mogases naturally generating in my deserts, and I can use them for their sussy sand. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, anyway, the way you find suspicious sand is in desert temples, and also, I think more excitingly, inside of desert wells, because these have just existed for such a long time, but now, finally, they have a use. If we look right down here across the center line, you'll notice the sand looks a little bit as suspicious. Now, you're not just going to want to punch this because that's not how you collect whatever might be hidden inside, although it will make different breaking sounds than normal sand. So here you have normal sand, and then here sounds like glass or more glass or a kind of crunchy pot smashing sound. And also, you kind of want to be careful because unlike normal sand, if it falls, it will simply break and you'll lose whatever might have been inside of it. I mean, obviously, if you just want to break it, you can, but assuming you want to do some science and archaeology, you'll need to make yourself a brush first, which I thought they said was going to be made with copper, but at the end of the day, it's just a very simple recipe. There you go, some string and some sticks, and then you have yourself a brush. Now, the way this works is that you come over to your suspicious sand, and let's go back into survival mode here. We'll right-click it, and it slowly brushes the suspicious sand. But this one's not going to drop anything, and that's because the suspicious sand and what it contains is actually driven by NBT data. So if you just go into creative mode and you grab suspicious sand, it's not going to have anything in it. It's actually NBT generated with the world. So if I come over here, I can actually control click each of these and they'll appear as different NBT'd suspicious sand, which is very cool because it means for map makers and stuff, you could actually code in some suspicious sand that has very specific to that map items in it for people to discover. Anyway, back to the basic game though. So if I want to discover what's in here, I'm gonna get my feet wet. I'm gonna hop into the water and I'm gonna start holding right click, and you'll notice that as I go, it actually starts popping out the item, a little preview of it from whatever side you're polishing away. So the middle here, like I'm just not completely polishing all the way, but oh, well, okay. And you see the stick started popping out, and then I get a stick in my inventory. Not the most exciting thing that you can possibly find, to be sure. But here, let's just, we start this one. We'll start seeing something popping out. Oh, it's a sussy stew inside of my sussy sand. I can't, dude. I can't. Yeah, so that's something you can find in the suspicious sand is suspicious stews. And sticks. But over here, and this is naturally generating with the world. I don't know how to set the NBTs or anything like that. But the thing you might be going for is one of the pottery shards, of which there are 4 different kinds. This is the arms up pottery shard that we've just gotten right here. Now, I purposely saved each of these blocks first in my inventory with their NBTs because I wanted to show that if you use the brush on like a different side, you'll see that the item starts appearing out of whatever side it is that you're brushing. And then after it's all said and done, once you've retrieved the item, then it just turns back into a piece of normal sand that you can't really do anything. I mean, you can brush the sand if you want. You're gonna be brushing for a very long time and nothing's gonna happen, but you can brush. And then you'll notice that the brush does take durability damage when you use it. But we could grab, say, another pottery shard out of here if we want to do that. And then back into normal sand, and now we have a couple pottery shards that we can use in order to make pottery. So these are the other 3 pottery shards that you can discover: the prize pottery shard, the archer pottery shard, and the skull pottery shard. And you can use them to make just a variety of permutations of different pots. So the basic pot is you would just take 4 bricks and put them in a square like that, or a diamond, and you get a decorated pot that, well, quite frankly, is not very decorated because it's completely plain. However, what you can do is you can then substitute out any or all of those bricks in order to make a custom pottery pot, decorated pot that's actually decorated, and the configuration of what design is displayed on what side is dependent upon what configuration you do for the pottery shards. So you can have it kind of whatever way you please. Obviously, look, there's only 4 different pottery shards, and the designs are pretty minimalistic, but you can have it arranged however you want it to be, and you can do just designs on each side. So here's a decorated pot that has designs on each side. We can put that down. We have the arms up, we have the archer, we have the skull, and we have the prize, or the diamond. If we go back into survival mode here, you can either, if you punch it just with an empty hand, it will just drop itself, or if you want to be able to reconfigure it and do the sides another way, you can break it with like a pickaxe, and then it will just drop all the shards, and then you can come back over and you can reconfigure it in whatever way you want to do it. And I should say, it's not just empty hand. If you just punch it without a tool, it will drop the pot intact. You have to break it with like a tool, and then that's when it'll break into its components, and it'll break into, you know, if it was just made out of bricks, then you get the bricks, or the combination of bricks and the pottery shards are just the pottery shards. So that pretty much covers archaeology as it's been implemented so far. These pottery shards, they have no crafting recipes of their own. The only way to get them is brushing them out of suspicious sand. Speaking of things that can only be gotten via suspicious sand, it leads us into our 3rd video, because the sniffer has been added, but its egg discovery mechanism has not. But it's rumored that it's going to change from being found inside of underwater ruins to instead to being something you get from suspicious sand. But for now, stay tuned for the 3rd video if you want to check out the sniffer as it's been added. Thanks for watching, and check the links in the description. See ya.